Welcome Glenn Perry to the Evening Sundown Show. It is a pleasure having you here with us today. Give us your insight on reinvention.
Reinvention is vitally important for growth. Reinvention is important for success. You know, like the old saying goes, we get caught up in a rut. So we need to reinvent.
Personally, what are your methods of reinvention?
I get bored really easily. So instinctively I keep reinventing myself. It's quite spontaneous. I don't think about reinventing. In my early days I did a lot of rock. I've been a rock musician all through my teenage, and after that I went into doing pop, and then I did a lot of jazz. I love jazz. Jazz is one of my favorite forms of music. Jazz is freedom. It gives me the liberty to improvise. I like that improvisation of musical notes and chords, and I've done all kinds of jazz. I did avant-garde a lot. I did experimental jazz, which I really love doing. I recorded about 10 albums of jazz, which is yet to be released. I've had all the greatest legends of jazz playing with me. I had Ron Carter. Ron Carter's played a lot of albums with me. I've got Steve Gadd on drums, Lenny White on drums, Dave Weckl on drums. I've had some monster players like Bob Mintz on saxophone. Louis Hayes, the greatest drummer, has played with me. And I've had Ed Schiller on bass. I had some Vincent Herring on saxophone. The list goes on. I've had all the legends. I've also had Eric Marianthal play with me. Yes, I've had a lot of legends of jazz, but I did so much of jazz, and I came to a point where I realized that I'm stagnating. I'm not going any further. So instinctively I've transformed. I never realized, and I never imagined that I would change from jazz, but I had to transform. And at the moment I'm doing a lot of acoustic stuff. It's more improvised folk rock amalgamated with R&B and soul. But R&B, now the new generation R&B from the 80s, you know, the 80s, the soul, Wilson Pickett, James Brown, and stuff like that. There's some great soul artists, all the Motown stuff. So that's what I'm into at the moment.
What next?
What will I do next? I don't know. I don't know, like I've said before. I instinctively transform myself. I don't know. I love rock. Maybe I'll continue doing rock, or it could be any form of music. I love experimental music. I love improvised music. I love improvising. If I have a certain amount of chord, that's C, F, G, I'll take it and try to make it 13, 15, 19, whatever, extend it, and create new forms of music, and that keeps me invigorated.
Do you feel that change is good?
As creative human beings, we must do something different in this world that's so rapidly changing and challenging.
What if we don't reinvent?
After a certain amount of time doing the same professional job, the need to reinvent becomes imperative. If we don't reinvent and if we don't change, we perish. We get stuck in a rut.
That's interesting. What else?
As the saying goes, idleness is the mother of all vices.
So true. Tell us more about reinvention.
Reinvention requires a certain amount of flexibility and adaptability. We need to step out of our comfort zones and dive into new territories, take chances, take on challenges.
What does it mean?
It means making a 180 degrees turn when you intended to do a 90-degree turn, and continue making those changes and taking on these challenges and venture into new boundaries and conquer and be victorious into these new horizons. Reinvention, if we don't reinvent, we stagnate, and stagnation eventually leads to perish.
What does reinvention mean?
Reinventing means adding that spectacular twist to all this transformation processes.
You're saying that reinvention is the key.
With the culture of the internet, technology and the big data, it is fundamentally imperative to reinvent, to transform, to take steps and dive into new territories. It's like, jumping into the ocean, but coming out victorious, and that's what reinvention is all about.
So you say that reinvention is good for success.
We need to reinvent and rejuvenate periodically. It's not about image, it's about identity, purpose, it's about narrative and attributes.
Please share with us some more of your thoughts.
Philosophy, idealism with a touch of realism leaves us convinced that the possibility to transform is embedded within each one of us. So we must take risks. We have to take on new challenges. Like I said, jump into the ocean or jump from the sky and just see what happens. We need to take chances.
Please tell us more.
In today's fast, rapid racing world, we are entering a new era that is characterized by a whirlwind of technological disruptions, social instability, climate change, catastrophes, tragedies, and natural disasters.
What if we don't reinvent?
Before stagnation, we need to radically transform to new horizons and into new ventures and new plateaus to survive, of course.
Some more, please.
We need to have a practical concept for reimagining how to deliver, how to create, and how to capture values.
Thank you, Glenn Perry, for sharing your thoughts with us. We would be extremely happy to have you on our show again. Please share your final words to our listeners.
Stagnation leads to